Ida. I am Ida Pearl Lee, and with me today I have Katie Lindgren
Hi.
from Greenstem.
I'm excited.
How are you?
I'm really good. We've been enjoying this weekend, and I think we haven't been able to catch a big breath yet. You know what I mean? Because we came back from the MICIA summer conference, and then basically, and then we went right into the week of getting ready for the Blues Brothers Festival that happened on Saturday.
The Blues Brothers Festival.
The Blues Brothers.
Oh my gosh, you people. This was amazing.
It was really good. It was really good. It was a great turnout. It was super fun. Highway Horticulture, Sarah, shout out.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, who put this all together. She just knocked it out of the park. She was a great representation of what highway horticulture can do and accomplish, and they're gonna really do some really cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're connected with Sunset Coast. Okay. So Sunset Coast was there from Cassopolis. Mm-hmm. There was, oh gosh, who else? Nobo was there. Sun Provisions was there. Mm-hmm. It was really cool.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
It was fun to be there and walk around and see as many people that were there.
Yeah.
It felt like the community just really showed up mm-hmm. and was interested mm-hmm. and embraced.
Yeah, there was a lot of people, from what I'm understanding, that came in from out of town. It was a lot. Southwestern Michigan is this really cool pocket of tourism. Mm-hmm. I know that we see that up north and Michigan as a whole with tourism, but Southwestern Michigan in particular is this just center of magical fun. So it's a zone 5 agriculture, which is and if I'm saying it correctly, but it's a zone 5 for climate agriculture. So we get this extra month of spring. It's a little bit earlier.
Oh, really?
And an extra month of fall. And lake effect winters are serious. You know what I mean?
I know.
Real.
I went to Western.
We get a ton of snow, but it's winter. It's winter for 3 months, spring for 3 months, fall for 3 months, summer for 3 months. And of course, with those transitional periods, it makes sometimes spring feel a little bit longer. Sometimes it makes feel fall. But if you look at it on the calendar and those temperature blankets that are trending, people make them online and whatnot. Right. If you look at what's happening in the area and the actual data, this is the most beautiful weather in Michigan.
Really?
Is in our area. Okay. Yeah, the lake effect creates these warm and it protects from storms, but it creates storms. It's really cool.
Interesting.
It's really, really cool.
Okay.
And I think Michigan is superior than any state, but that's that proud, arrogant Michigander. But yeah, I'm a big fan of our area, mm-hmm. and we got a lot of really great people coming in from out of state. Yes. So we got a lot of attention from Chicago and Illinois, of course, because the Blues Brothers and Joliet. Right. Yeah. So we got a lot of people from Chicago. We got a lot of people from Indiana, which of course is very convenient. It's
I met a couple
straight
from,
up
Colorado.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They don't have anything like this out there. There's no festivals. There's no consumption. There's no consumption lounges.
So no public events or anything.
No, they were just blown away. They were just in awe. They were you can smoke here. There's an actual consumption lounge. And I was just we can pull event licenses. And they were just for as progressive as Colorado is.
Right.
Michigan's booming.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that I've really liked about Michigan. Mm-hmm. And even when they set out, when Robin was involved, and you guys were involved in originally and how everything started and writing the laws and gathering stuff, everybody did so much research.
Right.
And looked at other legalized states mm-hmm. and pulled from laws where it's okay, they really screwed themselves up here, but they did a good job here. Exactly. Or we can change the wording in this to make it work for our state and our people. Right. And it was it's one of the things that I really like about Michigan, because it's one of the things that I really like about our company is Michigan learned lessons in it. You know what I mean? From others' mistakes and tried to come in. And it was okay, well, we're going to have to change things. We will grow and we will alter, right? Mm-hmm. The whole point of the legislative. Right. So, but we will grow and we will alter and it will, but we want to start right. Mm-hmm. And they did a good job.
Yeah.
A good job.
I do agree.
Yeah. I think there's always room for improvement, but they did a good job being able to recognize, like, for example, like the micro businesses and how they started and that intention and the splits between all of the different sizes. You know, there's things that we would always like to see. Right. Yeah. But it's overall like,
Michigan's got it going on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for nonviolence, but I will fight anyone that thinks that Michigan's not the greatest state in Michigan or in the entire United States. No, but big, proud Michigander. Yes. Really, really, really love our state. Really love our area. And like, I'd never been over here.
Okay. So you grew up in Farmington?
Okay. Yep. I grew up in Farmington on the west side of Detroit. Okay. And it was a very great, a blessed childhood. We had a great time growing up. You know what I mean? Like any families or anything like that, there's like your dramas and your traumas and things that happen. But we lived like less than a mile from downtown Farmington. And they've got all their very friendly things downtown. You've got the Founders Fest and they have all these activities and the sledding hill and they just do so much.
Okay. What was your family's stance on cannabis growing up?
Oh gosh. So my dad worked in corporate America, but he was like in cool corporate America.
What did he do?
Yeah. So he was,
George has quite a history.
Yeah, he does. He really does. So he worked for XM Satellite Radio. He was a vice president of automotive over there for a very long time, helped start XM. Okay. And then he went over when I was in college, he became the vice president of automotive at Pandora Internet Radio. Wow. So we grew up in this really cool atmosphere of being able to experience a lot of different things. Like my dad, which is something I'm doing with my daughter Arwen now, like when he had a cool conference, like somewhere across the United States, like we would go with. Like we wouldn't go to the conference, but my mom would be like, all right, we're going to check out all these national parks. Yeah. We're going to let him go do his work thing. Go do your work thing. And then we had dinners together. We would stay a couple of extra days. So he had vacation time with us. Okay. And like, but with that, we got like, I mean, I've seen Stevie Nicks in Hawaii, like 50 feet in front of me at a private concert. I've seen Aerosmith the same way. Like I've seen Dave Matthews Band 6 times, like, you know, and like, we got baseball tickets and like we got to bring people. Right. So whether it be like we got to bring a couple of friends or sometimes we went with dad, like in suites for like business stuff. Right. And that really kind of early on, I think that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. Okay. And I like to think that I do it well, is that like, it's the communication and the relationships. And I just had a really good role model on like, how to bond and connect with people. Okay. And I also think that I inherited a little of his fun personality. Charisma. And his charisma, and the charm, you know, and like I'd like to think that, you know, like that's.
So how was growing up with cannabis?
Oh, that's so it was good. It wasn't around, but it was around. Okay. Does that, like, I know that doesn't make sense. So
it does and it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So like whenever we were at concerts and like my first concert when I was 6 months old, it was Santana. Like my parents are concert goers and they were music and festival people anyway. And so it was there, like it was always around. But my dad working in corporate America when I was really little, he worked for a Japanese company outside of Chicago. And it was the 90s. Like it was coming out of the Dare era. Like, I mean, even though he was in his 30s, it was just a different time. Right. So he had taken a step back and away from it, but there was always very clear, transparent communication about this isn't bad. Like this isn't a bad, like we would be at a concert, you'd see my
like something smells good in there.
And then you'd see him like kind of like look around, you know, but like it was around and it was always there. And then when we entered into high school, right? And middle school, you had like drug education and that kind of stuff. And I guess this is a fun story. When my mom was driving me to school in middle school. We had just come out of drug education, and my parents were always very transparent.
Okay.
Like very transparent. If you have questions, we are not going to lie to you.
Right.
Like we're going to be, and I think that it created a very honest atmosphere and trusting atmosphere when it came to those kind of questions, alcohol, like anything like that. And I remember being able to go to my mom and being like, hey, I don't understand the difference between like mushrooms and LSD, learning about this.
Right.
And she explained it very well. This stop sign's just going to have emotions and feel wiggly and acid, then it'll grow legs. Right. So, but they were very transparent. And, it was the same with cannabis, right? Okay. Because in the early 2090s, it was just a different conversation. Right. And, but it was very positive, and it was, this is not a bad thing. This should not be considered a drug. It was their opinions, but it was very honest. Right. And I appreciated that. And then in high school, when Zach and I became to the age of like, it came into our social circles, and it was present around. My dad flat out told us, please don't drink alcohol. If you're going to do anything, please just consume cannabis. Wow. Yeah. And I've got your back. Like you're like this. He knew that it was safer, and you know, with no endorsement of like youth, you know, like recreational youth use. Right. But this is safer, and because he had experienced it, he genuinely knew in his like to his core that this is not going to hurt my children, but alcohol will kill them. Oh yeah. And that's something that it's really interesting, you know, the war on drugs, how when the alcohol is concerned, we don't really talk about alcohol and how it really destroys the body. Yeah. How it destroys relationships. It's poison. It's literally, you're having a reaction to putting a chemical in your body, and you're having a poisonous reaction to it. Right. And like, I mean, I know I got a soapbox. I got a soapbox with well-worn feet prints. But yeah, no, but my dad my parents were very open about it. And then when we got to our college ages, my parents they came to us and they were like, hey, family vacations, y'all are adults. What do you want these vacations to look like? We can do different things now. And Zach and I on the phone, I remember on a conference call, and we were just like, we want to go to Colorado. They just legalized, take us to Colorado. And we grew up in a family that didn't ski growing up. Okay. We were like hotel people. Like, not that ski lodges aren't hotels, but like we were at conferences and things like that. Yeah. So we decided to go on a ski vacation to Colorado because that was the excuse to get to Colorado. And we go on a ski vacation, and my dad, Adam, and I were living in Wyoming. My husband was a commercial paleontologist in his previous life, and I was in secondary education. So we were living in southwestern Wyoming, and Colorado was like 6 hours, like to where we were going to go. And we were like, oh yeah, this is perfect. We're going to meet you there. And so we drive in from one side, they fly into Denver, get off the plane, and immediately are like, where is the first shop? Oh, that's awesome. Immediately. And then my dad had like an awakening, you know what I mean? Like a reawakening. He had like reconsumed a couple of times or anything. But when we got to Colorado and he walked in to like a legal, what year was this facility? We moved there in 2011, into Wyoming in 2011. 12 when Colorado legalized, maybe 13. I might have my years off, but it was the year that Colorado legalized. Or very shortly after. And yeah, my dad walked in with my brother because we hadn't met up with them yet. And he was standing in line, and he like got emotional. Wow. Like really emotional. But he was the secretary of the New England Normal chapter, and he held the banner that was on the cover of the Washington Post. Oh my goodness. At Washington, D.C. for the 420 smoke-in. Okay. Like he was an advocate. Right. And but all of those stories that he would tell, from concerts to to anything that happened in the 70s and 80s and in, you know, like in the 60s when he first consumed, like those were a part of our childhood,
right?
You know, like those were stories that we heard growing up, and it creates a different mentality, you know, like it wasn't damned. It wasn't the devil's
You weren't fear.
There was no fear mongering.
Yeah.
There was no fear parenting of this was going to hurt us or lead us to anything. And I think it made us not curious, but aware. So that when it did come to us, like I remember smoking my first time.
How old were you?
I was 16 when I smoked cannabis for the first time. I didn't smoke a cigarette until I was 22.
Okay.
But like I smoked cannabis for the first time when I was 16, and it was in our neighborhood, like down this like wooded, like this path that could get you like out of the neighborhood, like out the back, you know, like a little walking path. And oh my gosh, the cutest boy with dreadlocks. And like I was so nervous. I was with one of my girlfriends, and she I've got one rolled. I'll light this one to start us
you
up.
know, the issue, my paper is not like
is your glue? I wonder if the glue went out. But or maybe it dried up, but we'll light this one. So
what do you have? What are you smoking?
Oh, so this one is I had two. No, but this one, it's Trivium weed from outside of Grand Rapids, like Muskegon area.
Oh, nice.
We work with them. We buy their product to put into our Sticky Mitten carts.
Okay.
My husband runs our Sticky Mitten, our CO2 lab, and Sticky Mitten is the brand, the vape brand that's coming out of there.
Okay.
And we like to buy from not just our friends, but companies that we really respect and we care about, you know, smaller, private, family-owned stuff, that kind of thing. So Trivium.
Nice.
Trivium.
Yes,
Trivium weed.
Right.
Yeah, big fan. But
thank you, Trivium.
That part. So we went to this footpath, and
do you have a light or a ashtray?
Yes, of course.
Girl, you're all prepared.
I've got it. And to all of those out there that I've stolen lighters from, I will send them back to you from this last week, and maybe some additional for the emotional damage. But I found a lighter as well.
You have to tell those. I can't even. I'm choking over here. This is so funny.
Yeah, no, there's no excuse. I'm not excusing my behavior. I don't know why I do it. And I know that people can relate, but I am a grade A lighter thief. I'm not to be trusted with your fire. I will pocket them. I will put them everywhere. If I'm in a cardigan, if there's pants with a fifth little tiny pocket that things don't fit in, there's lighters in there. If I've rolled or cuffed my jeans, or there's a lighter in there. I don't know.
You have how I at the end of the night when you're undressing.
And I will go into my bedroom or into my bathroom, and I will start getting, and I will literally unload my unintentional pickpocketing. And then, and every time somebody asks me if I have a lighter, I will do a physical pat down.
Girl, you gave me a lighter yesterday. You're like, just keep it. I'm gonna
steal it back. I'm gonna steal it back. We're smoking with Josie and Brenda last night, and Brenda literally turns to me and she was like, "Hey, can I just borrow my lighter?"
And I was like, I love how you asked that.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. And there's probably 6 sitting in front of me and 2 in my pockets. But when people ask me, they'll be like, "Hey, do you have a lighter?" I will do a physical pat down. I will touch everything. I'll be like, "Please, you can check. I'm sorry. I don't have a lighter." And I'm the first one to go looking for them too.
Right.
I have
funny.
A problem.
It's funny.
I apologize to everyone.
So whenever you need a lighter, go to Katie.
Yeah. And I'll find it. I will most likely take it from someone else, but I will find you a lighter.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'll do is I'll be like, "I have to light this in front of you." And hand it right back. This is yours. Don't let me take it. Yeah. Yeah. But we went back on this footpath, right, through the neighborhood. And he put a filter, he crinkled up a filter, he made it it was very comfortable.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't at a party. It wasn't in somebody's car. Like, I mean, I then started smoking at parties and hotboxing cars. Thank you, 12 Oaks Mall parking lot. And then the Denny's.
Well,
the 24-hour Denny's. But yeah, no, but like it became for a while there, especially in college, not necessarily in high school, but then in college, it was like a part of my culture. Like it started becoming a part of it. And then we moved in 2011 to Wyoming, and Wyoming was a state that it wasn't around. I didn't know where it was. And when it was there, and then I started working in the school district.
Wyoming, I know, it's just kind of like out west.
It's above Colorado, nestled into the corner of Utah.
Okay.
Touching Idaho, underneath Montana.
Is that where the Four Corners are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it's like part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what I heard when I lived there? That's not the actual location of it. It's like it was an accident. Like it's not correct on the coordinates. But it could be a lie. That could be false truth.
Yeah. You never know. I mean,
you have no idea.
You have to do your own research.
I trust the signs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah. So let's go back to growing up in Farmington. Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to college?
I went to Oakland Community, and it was the perfect place for me.
Okay. Why is that?
So I have a handful of learning disabilities, but a couple of them a little bit stronger than others, still affecting me as an adult. Like I'm severely dyslexic.
Okay. I want to talk about this really quick because I've had moments where I'll be writing something down that's like, I know I'm not dyslexic, and I mix up my letters and my numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, like, whether it be like fatigue or anything like that, things like that can happen.
Right.
But when it comes to dyslexia, another soapbox that has worn feet in. But when it comes to dyslexia, it's not a spectrum or anything like that, but there are degrees, if you will, and everybody's brain works a little bit differently. But it affects the way that you think and process, of course. But also like in a monologue sense, it's like one of the things that I talk about a lot.
Yes.
People with dyslexia have the tendency or the ability to be able to visualize as well as in their mind, like in mind thought, they have visual thoughts as well as an internal monologue.
Right.
Where it affects me most is I have a very difficult time being able to have written communication, and being able to understand or not understand, because I can understand like the graphs and then I need narratives. And our accountant, Donna, also shout out Donna for doing this for me. Donna writes me narratives. Like, so when she makes a graph and there's a spreadsheet of all these numbers and things that I have to that we all of us owners have to be able to look at and understand, she breaks it down for me and for us in order to be able to, here's a graph to be able to explain it visually. And here's a narrative, like 3 sentences telling you, this is what this looks like. So we have a team, like our management team at the store and for manufacturing is unbelievable. Like, and I like to think that's part of my management style. Like I like to surround myself with people that are very good at what I'm not good at doing.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just like a snippet. It's like 0.1% of all the amazing things that Donna does or that, that our team does, but we work so well together. And I thank you, Trivium. Here I am on a path down gushing over our people.
You're fine. We'll get to them in just a minute, but let's go back to college.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah. So I went to Oakland Community and it was the right place for me. If I would have gone to state, or if I would have gone to broadcasting school in Florida, or if I would have gone to Boston for art school, because I was looking at a few different places. I would have been home by first semester.
Okay.
I wouldn't have attended classes after the second week. I would have been overstimulated. I did not have the tools in a classroom yet Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yes.
Yeah. And I was very driven to work. Yeah. So I was really driven to work. I wanted to go into photography. I didn't know what I was going. I knew what I wanted to do with it. I actually wanted to go into pornography. I'm so sorry. I wanted to go into pornography. I wanted to be a photographer for Playboy magazine.
Okay.
Hugh Hefner's daughter had taken over, and it was supposed to be more feminine positive.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And
right. it's still empowering women.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And this is and so it was just like, okay, this is where I can like learn and invest. My grandfather was a photographer, so I had grown up taking pictures with film, and then I fell in love with the dark room, and I didn't leave for 5 years. But I went to Oakland, and right before I was finally gonna walk with with a certificate and a degree, I was finally gonna get through everything after working and trials and tribulations with classes and figuring out my learning patterns as an adult now. My husband had a tragedy. His brother died. And we, in the middle of the night, the day after his birthday, flew to Wyoming, and we never came home.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, sometimes life literally veers us to the left or right, and we just figure out how to roll and go with it.
Totally took us for a loop, right?
Okay.
And then, but that's how we ended up in Wyoming.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Adam is, like I said, he's a commercial paleontologist by trade, but he comes from a family of paleontologists. His 2 older brothers, his dad, and just like any industry, it's small.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Unless we're talking I don't know. It's all
it's a personal
small.
close community.
It's a community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fossil community was no different.
Okay.
And they had the association, and we had, you had your intellects, the research, you know what I mean? It was unbelievable. And it was really cool to grow up in my 20s.
I bet.
In a small industry and experiencing that, and the people, and there was reality TV shows, and there was, you know what I mean? There was lobbying, there was protection rights for grounds, and how leases were
really in the thick of it.
We were
really
in it.
Learning.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what's prepared me so well for coming into a new industry, because it was small, right? The paleontology was so small and such a tight community, and there's a culture in fossil hunting, and it's very reminiscent in certain ways, in parallels of larger macro ideas.
Right.
But I feel Wyoming itself prepared me for the rest of my life.
Why is that?
Adam and I we moved into an area that believed very differently than we did on a multitude of levels. And rather than fighting the man, because it was a town of 2,800 people.
Oh my goodness. That's tiny.
Yeah, that was a culture shock in itself.
Tiny. Wow.
That was a culture shock. Adam and I Adam was from central Minnesota originally. I was from the Metro Detroit area, and that was a culture shock itself. And Adam and I are big personalities. For anybody that has ever met us in person, but Adam and I are big personalities, but we came in and we knew that we didn't want to be offensive. You know what I mean? So we were vocal about how we felt, and we didn't alter our morals or ethics or anything like that we felt at our core, but we learned how to respect everybody else's core
and ideas
and values and ethics. And we went branding, we did everything. The only thing I didn't get to do was hold a baby bear.
Oh my gosh.
But after the pandemic and watching Tiger King or whatever, I don't want to hold a baby bear. I don't want to participate.
Right.
So, but
that was a whole
right. But that was the only thing on my like bucket list for living out west. Was the only thing I didn't get to do was hold a baby bear. But I got to do, we did everything. We fully immersed ourselves. I mean, and like the air, but Wyoming was an experience.
Okay.
It really was. But at the end of our experience, sorry, I have chickens. I don't know if they picked up the rooster.
I hope so.
Okay. So, but at the end of our experience in 2018, is when we moved here. Mm-hmm. But in 2016, we had a baby.
Oh, okay.
And we had built our dream starter home, and we had, fertility and everything. We had finally had a baby in October of 2016. And then the next month, administration changed. Mm-hmm. And then within that year, quite a bit changed for us in our industries and in our life. Mm-hmm. And my dad, who had retired a couple months after my daughter was born, was coming out like every 4 to 6 weeks to come and see us. 2 weeks. Sometimes he'd stay for 4, when Adam went and did his shows down in Tucson or Denver or anywhere else, my dad would come and like stay with me and the baby and like hang out and help. And so my father and I have always been very close, but I was in a different chapter of my life. He was entering a different chapter, and we were able to really bond in that time because we were both learning and vulnerable and growing in these new spaces.
Right.
So it was really great to have him there as support, but it also became a situation where we weren't thousands of miles away from each other.
Right.
And he saw very transparently what our lives were starting to look like and how much we were struggling. And he was also home in Detroit, outside Detroit in Farmington, hearing my brother, saying his issues that he was having with his career and that, it was corporate America and it wasn't lining up with, it was tough on everyone. And my dad was like, oh my God, I just retired. And we were, not in dismay of, heartbreak, but heartbreak in a different way, in a way of we're going to fix this.
Right. Yes.
So we built, we didn't yet. He spoke to his financial planner first and was like, I think I want to do this. And his financial planner was just like, oh, I don't know, George. I don't know, George.
Let me talk you out of this.
Let me think about it. And he was just like, okay. So, and then a few months go by. And he checks in with him again at his next like quarterly meeting or whatever that looks like. And he's like, so I did some looking into this and I think you've got an idea.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my dad comes back out to Wyoming, and he's just like, there's a show in Denver. There's a cannabis show, like an expo being held in Denver. I'm going to go to all the seminars, and I'm going to learn everything that I can in the industry, because we were only cultural participants. I mean, yes, advocacy participants, but in his previous life.
Right. And just real quick. So Adam's in paleontology. And then what was your career? What were you doing?
I worked in secondary education and in a small town. So I worked at
really removed from
very much
cannabis.
So. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Very removed. I hadn't consumed since college. Like, it was very removed. And
excuse me.
I mean, like, I'm quite the rule follower.
Don't say that isn't so.
I know. I know. Yeah. 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 And like, yeah. So he watched it. So I worked for a 7 through 12 school in education, and things started to change. Funding was happening differently. There was, positions were being not just moved around, but they were being eliminated. Oh. And so things started to get really rocky. And the fossil industry was a little bit different. Sales weren't there. Like things were happening. I don't know if anybody remembers when the national parks were being shut down, and that heavily affects us. We sold to museums, arts were being defunded. We sold to national parks and government and things like that, and monuments, and they were shut down.
Oh my goodness.
They just had no funding.
A whole nother perspective that people don't even think about, realize it's not a concept.
And fossils were a want.
Interesting.
They weren't a need.
Yes.
And education, it was changing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Wyoming is a red state, and it was changing. Mm-hmm. And, so my dad came in and he was just like, oh my God, you know, like, my son is absolutely miserable starting his career. Like he's in the thick of it and in the grind. And this is not what he thought what he wanted to do. Katie and Adam, and now the new baby, like we got to figure something out. So he goes to Colorado. He takes in all these seminars. He walks around this entire expo. He talks to all these people, and he comes back to me at my dining room table, and he is overwhelmed and overstimulated, and he's like, oh my God, I don't know if we can do this. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. And that's when he really started talking about like deeper into the idea. Mm-hmm. But it happened.
It did.
Yeah, it happened. We figured out a plan. Mm-hmm. And it was, we're going to do processing. And we're going to learn from the best in Colorado. We found another family company, and we modeled off of them. We worked with them, and we started to pivot. Mm-hmm. And it was, Adam started training in Colorado. And
so everyone was on board.
Everyone got on board.
Yes.
Everyone.
That's incredible.
But it took everything. It took second mortgages. Mm-hmm. It took cashing out of retirement funds. It took inheritance, mm-hmm. trust funds. It took everything.
Right.
Everything. And some. Like it took everything. But we were all desperate mm-hmm. at that point. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to come back home to the Midwest, and, you know, we loved Wyoming and we loved our experience, and it was sorrowful leaving. Mm-hmm. It was really emotional to leave, but we needed to move to our next chapter. Right. And we wanted to get back to the Midwest. I missed greenery. If anybody has ever been in southwestern Michigan, it is a high elevation desert on a plateau at the ridge lines of the mountains. It's a tough place to live, and the people there are hardy, and they are all the positive adjectives. they're very determined, mm-hmm. and it's
not an easy life.
It wasn't an easy life, but it toughened us up, and there's so many benefits. There's so many benefits of us being out there, mm-hmm. But we were able to come back, and then we started building this business, and we found we had a location, and we were going to be leasing a space, and we were on the other side of the state building this in the Detroit area, mm-hmm. and in like the Auburn Hills area. And then we decided that we needed to add on a grow, because then we could control our own product.
Okay, so first you opened up the provisioning center.
No, not yet. This was on the other side of the state in 2018.
We went way ahead.
We got a processing license, a grow license. We got through Don Bailey. Like we got through the board. We were in it.
Okay, so
in 2018, we're on the other side of the state.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're on the other side of the state, and we spent our first year there.
Okay.
So we're starting our build out. We're doing all this different. We're about to break ground, in the build in our suite, and we've decided we're going to do 2 Class C's. And the building didn't work out. It didn't happen.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yep. And I remember we built this business, like the idea on a whiteboard that we got from Eastern Michigan University's like surplus room in my parents' garage. Like that's where we would hang like Amazon and like Apple. I'm not trying to compare us to those things. I'm not that arrogant, but like it was very inspirational. And we literally would sit in my parents' garage on an old couch and in camp chairs and a huge whiteboard from the university that we got. And we would draw it, we concept art, we would do everything, like from logos to project planning to everything.
Okay.
And we would sit there and smoke weed all fucking day.
You were having your smoke sesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we brainstormed and we got creatively together on everything. And it was really fucking cool. Sorry.
That is.
I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. Sorry. Yeah.
Say whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's my podcast.
But it was really, really, really cool. But it didn't it fell through, right? The location fell through. It didn't happen. And we got to a point and we all met at my dad's house, and we had brought Crew and Cheryl on because he was our grower and he came from the caregiving community, and like we were all building it. Right. And like Cheryl came from mortgage compliance. So she had this like legal compliance brain, and everybody felt so comfortable because she was like, she's going to keep us safe. She's going to keep us out of fucking prison. So we were my mom, my dad, me, my husband, my brother, and our 2 married friends all got together and built this, right? Cheryl was about to have her baby Arlos.
How old was Arwen?
Arwen she was a year and a half. She was 17 months old.
So your baby was
little.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And we all sat down and it was like, what are we going to do? So
yeah, because everything's falling through.
Right. And we entered the lottery in Traverse City. We bought a building. It's now a bike shop.
Oh.
We bought a building in Traverse City because to have a license, you had to have a property. So we bought property.
Yeah, you were investing.
Yep. So we applied for the lottery in Traverse City. We were successful in Battle Creek with a location, and we were potentially successful in Battle Creek, and then Niles.
And how did Niles come up?
Yeah. So,
because I get the other 2.
In our brainstorming, like when we would break out, right? Like when everybody would have their projects, and like I was building administration stuff, and like Cheryl was doing all one of the things that my brother set out to do was he and my husband were gathering on a map. We had pins all over it. Oh my gosh. It's like seriously CSI. Do
you still have this map, I hope?
No. Yeah, it's actually, we do, but the pins are all out of it, but we do still have the map.
That's cool.
And it's actually, I think it's on Becca's closet door next to her office desk. But they were pinning everything and labeling it all out because there was only like 50 places. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so we would mark out this town and Zach had a spreadsheet of all of the places that had opted in. And then because we were doing all the research that were going to be opting in or potentially opting in.
Okay.
And we were going to normal meetings in Ypsilanti. We started getting involved with like the National Cannabis Industry Association, and then what's going to be happening in Michigan. And like, so we started getting involved.
Right.
And yeah. And and I remember an email going out, and then it was just like, are we missing anything or anything like that? And we went to the map, and it was like, Niles. We're missing Niles. This is just outside of Chicagoland. It's on the border, but it's still a large enough area in order to be able to support itself if a state went legal. It had all the stuff.
And Niles, so we were actually in Indiana last night, and I really wasn't even paying attention.
I know.
And it was like, we're where?
It's literally
5 minutes
less. Yeah. It's right where we're on the border.
Okay.
And and then it was like Niles. So we added Niles. So we started traveling, investigating, purchasing buildings, like applying for lotteries, licensure, all this kind of stuff. And the city of Niles came to us and they were like, hey, like we have other licenses that are becoming available, like we apply. Wow. Anybody should apply. And so we were like, oh, that's a move.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. The city's actually coming to
you. Yeah. I mean, they were telling everyone it was on their website, but like, they're announcing it. We're going to be expanding licenses. And we were like, oh, well, Well, that's a thing.
Got those juices flowing.
Yeah. So we were running out of money very quickly building the grow.
In Detroit?
No.
Oh.
Now,
oh.
Yeah, here. Oh, I skipped a part.
Okay.
I skipped 4 chapters, but I'm going to sum them up in 2 minutes, like less than 2 minutes. So we got number 14 for the lottery up north.
Oh, goodness. 14. Okay.
We got number 14.
Well, you got a number.
We got a number. There was only, if I remember correctly, there was only 12 or 13 licenses given. So we were like, no, we need to move faster than this. We can't wait for somebody to fail. We're moving away from Traverse City.
Oh my goodness.
So we moved away from Traverse City. We did not go with Battle Creek. It's a great area, but it wasn't going to fit for us because vertical integration was looking really, really good.
Okay.
Because we saw in Colorado, our partners from Wonderleaf, the brand that we were working with, we saw the struggles that were happening without being vertically integrated there. So it was like pre-writing on the wall. And it was like, oh, we should reinvest into ourselves again, going deeper into debt, but this is what's going to save us. And we were running out of money trying to get everything built.
Wow.
And then we received a permit. They went on a voting, like on a point system. So we received a permit, us in Primitive, and we received a permit. We bought a lube shop. It was on like David Letterman for having a naughty joke unintentionally on the side of the building. It used to say, lube in rear with an arrow. Telling and like 22,000 cars drive on our road every day. Like, lube in rear, like, yeah. So we bought that building. So we bought that building. And then because we were running out of money, it was like the PC will fund the grow and the lab. So we had to put it all on hold again.
Wow.
And we built the PC. Yeah. And we built this PC.
You completely pivoted.
When I say, we've been pivoting for years. Like, and I swear it's what we're good at.
It sounds like it.
From the pandemic to staffing struggles to everything, building, the laws, licensure, everything. Our ability to be able to pivot and change on the fly and be able to grow and continue to learn. It's what makes us work. And because we don't have to go to corporate. We can make a decision with our team. And if it doesn't work, sorry guys, those 3 days were bullshit. We're going to do something else.
Right.
And like but it creates a creative atmosphere. Sometimes it's, it's not so fun to be able to experience those things or how that works, but it works.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and
you have to have a close knit
group. Yeah.
In order, for those dynamics to work and to be successful.
Yeah. The women in our management are just like, it's the way our brains are unreal at what they do. And like, they're also so good at it.
Yeah.
And like, they want to communicate and they want to over communicate, which is great for us because we want to you know what I mean? But it's so good. It's so good when we get in rooms and the committees start going and everybody's lanes that they're in start to freeway together and like we're on a mission. That's when it happens. Like how when we pivoted to curbside with the pandemic, Adam jumped outside. Casey Trojan, who worked for us, she's unbelievable, but they own Anthos Grow, who is in Sticky Mitten carts. Like they're in Simplicity with us, the complex.
Oh, nice.
They're our neighbors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And we've been with them for a while. So you've built
quite a few relationships.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got more than a handful of really wonderful, trusted friends now. You know what I mean? Right. And like we all want each other to succeed and like we all want to feed each other and it's so good. It's so good.
That is good.
Yeah. And like fighting corporate America.
Every step of the way.
Yeah. And like, so we bought the building and we built it ourselves. we laid the floor, we hung drywall, we hired we had the professionals come in for electrical and the walls and that kind of instruction. And we had we weren't going to try to tape all of our drywall.
Right. That's drywall is a specialty.
Yeah, but we committed to pay. We did it. We put in doors. We built it. We went to closing Sears down in South Bend.
Oh.
And we bought their jewelry department. We bought their desks in the back end. We bought their lockers from break rooms. We went to Costco. I mean, all of our tubs, everything. We didn't know retail. That's the crazy part, right? None of us knew retail. We knew compliance. We knew cultivation. We knew we knew laboratory but my brother was a great, my brother was really, and that's not a previous statement, is very, very good at computers. He touches IT, but he can make one hell of a spreadsheet, and I'm not trying to be flippant about it. That's such a valuable task. His data and the way that he's able to, very, very, very good at that. So it was we had all these it was each one of us held a pillar.
Right.
And then you put us in the same room, in the same building, big personalities, but and we made a machine.
And you figured out retail.
We built a machine and we figured out retail, and we went in and it was well, as a customer, what do we want to experience what do we want that to look like?
Right.
So we built a company completely surrounding the customer experience. And that was always at the top of our list. And when we had to pivot 3 weeks later after opening.
When did you open?
March 2nd of 2020, the day before my birthday. Yep. So we opened on March 2nd, 2020. Weeks later, we were thrown in, we entered a pandemic and we had to pivot.
Again.
And we had to pivot, and we pivoted, and we have been able to consistently change our model over and over and over again with all the same, to be able to provide a customer experience any way they want to shop. You want to order it online, you want to pick it up, you want to shop in store, you want a private consultation appointment. We've expanded now and are continuing to expand into any customer experience that somebody wants for retail. We're going to be able to provide it. And now we're getting into festivals and successful festivals. And it's just been, and we've changed our mentality on that. We learned lessons the first time where it was okay, this is not a financially benefiting event. However, this is a brand. Well, we changed the mentality, and it was this is a branding and marketing event.
Correct.
It's also learning lessons and what can we take out of this in order to be able to take home and expand on. And then we went in with a beer tent mentality, where it was just no, simplified. We're not replicating a PC.
Exactly.
We're not replicating a PC on site. There's no alcohol. When you throw a festival now, you can choose, is this going to be a cannabis consuming event or an alcohol consuming event?
Correct.
And we happen to be a very, really good team, to be able to put together what a vending tent could look like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's not
in that
easy
capacity.
To festivals
yeah. And another shout out, Caitlin and Becca and Liz and Caitlin, her checklist, her organization, the way that she should be on the Supreme Court. Her ability to be able to understand and organize. She's our head auditor. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh wow. They're so good. So good. And the way that it all clicks together, and we do dry runs and we allow time in allowance. We have allowance in our meetings to be able to go on it. Let's process this thought. Let's investigate this.
Yes.
There's no stupid ideas.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's just okay, well, I'm just thinking out loud here. I play a very good devil's advocate, which is very frustrating, I think, in rooms and in conversations sometimes. because I'll pick it apart.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not that I don't agree with you or anybody. It's just that I'm with my anxiety.
From A to Z, you want to know what's all.
I want to know everything. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So that's more analytical. That's your analytical thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we've been really good at it, you know, in that element, and like being able to pivot and learn lessons quickly. And it's just been such good. It's been so good. Such good. It's been so good. It's been such a good time. And, but we've continued to reinvest in ourselves.
Right.
And we've built the Grow, which is, if anything ever went federal, OSHA regulations, it's all, we're going for GMP. We're doing, it is a state-of-the-art Grow.
I was in there. I did a tour when you were building it out. Yeah. And I would love to come back and see what it looks like now.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I know we were busy with like,
we were hanging with celebrities.
Oh my God. It was fun. That was great.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't get starstruck too much, but Jim Belushi and Dan Aykroyd did it for me. I mean,
I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. I cannot wait. I can't wait to see what happens.
I know.
So we, oh my gosh.
What?
Hi. I forgot.
Well, this is Light a Joint with Python.
Yeah, I know. You do such a good job.
Thank you. I'm doing my job.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about, you know,
rewind it back.
Just the process, you know, your build out.
Yeah. And like, so we went, so then we finally started building out the Grow, everything. And you were there for the, like, for, it can't be the beginning of it because the middle lasted years.
And I had no idea about Detroit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so and then we built the lab, right? The lab and the Grow happened they were built at the same time because they were going, and we'll have a few different brands, right? So we have Sticky Mitten that's launched now, and that's the CO2 vape brand. Oh, here, let me help you.
Thank you.
Yes, I got it. Yay. Okay. So
today, Katie.
So we've got,
I'll trade you.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we've got Sticky Mitten now, and it's a CO2 lab, which is just like full spectrum raw cannabis oil. And
so can you explain CO2 for those who are watching who don't really understand what that means?
Yeah. So it is, I can't coin anything because it doesn't make sense the way that I say it, but it makes sense when it doesn't make sense. It's a solventless solvent extraction process.
Okay.
So there's a high pressure with changing CO2, the natural gas, into it by heating it and cooling and putting it under pressure. They are able to remove all of the oil, everything, all of the content from the plant.
Wow.
Okay. And they do it in a recipe. It's the, you know, that's this thing.
He came up with it.
And they extract the terpenes first because they're so fragile and delicate, and they need to be respected.
Oh, woo! I think there's a whole lot of education coming out of the terpenes.
My God.
Cannabinoids and all of that.
He immediately takes care of the terpenes. Like first things first, while they're fresh, they've been whipped and agitated. They're there, and he pulls the terpenes immediately. Okay. And then he sends it through his recipe.
Nice.
And he pulls and he pulls and he pulls all these different oil components in the process. And it's all strain specific. So if he starts with Trivium Blunicorn, or if he has like Marshmallow OG from Anthos, he starts with and he ends with it. It's all single source batch. It's craft.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. And it's hand done. It's unbelievable. So it turns out being at the end of it all, when it's all homogenized back together, all the CO2 is gassed off and released. So it's pure, untainted, raw cannabis oil.
Nice. You've got some, right?
Yeah. I've got a few of them right here. I've got Marshmallow OG. I've got Blunicorn. I've got Tropicana Cherry. I mean, like there are
those are really
many
smooth.
Out now. And you know what's coming from a flower smoker?
Yes. Yeah. I love my flower.
Yep. I gotta have my flower. Coming from a flower smoker. it is the only cart that I like. I have been waiting for the lab to open because Wonderleaf was the only cart that I really liked. I don't like distillate. I don't like anything else.
And we were talking about this yesterday, and because it's a different high. I mean, it's completely different. It tastes different. Nope. Everything's different.
Yeah, it feels. It's not. But it feels fake.
Right.
You know what? I don't like it. It's just not it's not the effect that I'm looking for.
I like my high.
Yeah, it's not the effect that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But CO2 carts, Sticky Mitten carts, it's the cart for flower folk.
Right.
Hands down.
Right.
Like you hit it twice, you feel like you've hit a joint. Like you don't have to rip it 6 times every 15 minutes.
Exactly.
You don't get a distillate
going through a cartridge in 2 days. Yeah.
It's just like smoking flower. It's unreal. It's unfreaking real.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting, Katie.
Yep.
That's so exciting.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And the oil itself, like they're talking about putting it in syringes because it's dabbable. They're getting, my father is pushing really hard. There's a cream, a balm that we're able to make with it that we use from recipes and stuff like that we receive.
Yes.
There's so much that we can do with it. And we have terpenes.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
And we have terpenes because
huge.
All of the terpenes that are extracted, because there's so many, because he does it so early on and fresh in the process, we have so many. What do we have? We have terpenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it could be anything from food additives to adding to joints. It could come. We don't know what we're going to do with it yet, but I can guarantee you we're going to do something with it. I think that like how keef is like an unfortunate excess that happens in a grow.
Yeah, but you know,
I know
I like keef.
So do I.
Yeah.
But there's so much of it,
right,
that you don't know what to do with it. Well, in a lab, there's so many terpenes because he does such a good job. There's so many that there's so many left there. It's just like, oh man,
how can we capitalize on?
What are we going to do with it?
Exactly.
Like what are we going to do with it? Because there's options, but what are we going to do with it?
Right.
Like, is it beverages? Is it food? Like, is it,
so
what do we do? Do we add it to joints? Is it adding to infused joints? You know what I mean? Like, what do we do? Because it'd be really cool.
It is. Yeah.
And
it's like really like a whole frontier, like just literally like a whole new world. I know.
It's getting hot at the end there, but yeah, but it's a completely new frontier. And it's so one of the reasons why we got into CO2, being a family business and working with my parents. My mom put her mom foot down at the very beginning when we started learning about different labs and processes. And she Denise Lynched it. Oh, she mommed hard. And she was like, I will not put my children in a bomb shelter. That we will not be doing anything that is going to put your lives in danger. If we have to go to jail, okay, we're going to do our best to stay out of jail. We're not going to we're not risking our lives.
Right.
And she mommed out on it, and it was understood and respected. And we found a process that not only fell into her comfort, but it also fell into what we believe in about the plant and how we feel so strongly about like my tray, and how we feel so strongly, about the preservation and the quality and what happens there.
Are you cool something like that? You want to figure like
oh no, I'm okay. I can go like this.
Yeah. Over.
But it was incredible. You know what I mean?
How is it? And we're going to go over the hour.
Okay. Yeah, we've
got so much to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can ask me anything. Yeah.
Well, like community support and education. How important is that to you? And what does that look like? What do you do?
Yeah. So within the community of Niles, we do everything, like we do river cleanups and we do big local donations. So an organization that's very near and dear to our heart is a Niles organization. It is the Ferry Street Resource Center. And the Ferry Street Resource Center is an incredible resource in itself. It's a physical yellow pages, but with detail. It's like they have this, they can provide anything for anyone in need. And it's not that they provide it. They'll personally set you up with okay, you don't know where to be able to get meals when you're unable to. Here's every single one of the places in your area and transport how to get there.
Oh my, what's this place called?
Ferry Street Resource Center.
Ferry Street. And this is just for Niles.
It's for the Niles surrounding areas, but it's in Niles.
That's incredible.
It's unbelievable. When the housing displacement happened during the pandemic, they put up sanitary stations, tent village. I mean, they took care of the community.
Oh my goodness.
They completely came through.
That is incredible.
So we work with them and we donate with that. We really, really, really love Ferry Street Resource Center.
Absolutely.
So we work with them, and then we do a few other things. We work with Glenn, the Great Lakes Expungement Network. We do a lot with Josie and the Redemption Foundation now, and they pair up quite a bit with a lot of our feelings and the way that we stand in advocacy. And then in extension, I mean, we've got the Southwestern Humane Society that we do things with. We've done drives. We do joint cases, like the downtown Niles does a third Thursday event where their restaurants and bars and their shops and everything, they have like Pizza Transit downtown. They do a special pizza every third Thursday. And like a spinach artichoke dip. Please, Sarah, bring it back. But they do a spinach artichoke dip pizza that is unreal. The vampire pizza that comes out, it's like steak with roasted garlic.
Like a true, like everyone come out and just,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Be a community.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yep. And you see people walking up and down. During the pandemic, they shut down they shut down this street. It was the perfect place. They called it the Node, the Niles Outdoor Dining Experience.
Okay.
And like they put in this fire pit with this iron
they
work.
Really embraced COVID.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And made it just figured out how to make it
And they
work.
created open spaces. So restaurants were able to send wait staff down, or they were able to like walk it down. Like it was all right there.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Niles has got it going on.
Dude, Niles, the city of Niles has really done a great job opening their eyes and recognizing like the condition of what had started to happen.
Right.
Like when Simplicity Patterns left, and there was quite a bit that hit in the early 2000s with the recession, and Niles got hit really hard, and they recognized what was happening. And they brought cannabis into the community. This is from my point of view, but they brought cannabis into the community. They took progressive steps, and with the Niles DART, but like system in order. And the senior center does this ride system. It's unbelievable. And they started to embrace they always had, but it really got thick with culture, and it started to develop, and the city council started to turn over into a younger generation a little bit. Our mayor Nick, really, really good at what he does. And like, he's able to communicate with people in a way, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. Even if you're angry, like his April Fool's Day joke will go down in time for me. And like, he just, please deep dive the internet and find that on Facebook, because it was one of the funniest trolling mayor jokes I've ever seen. And it just really, really, really good. So anyway, but they started to do, the DDA got really thick, and new businesses started, and we still have property available downtown, we're still wanting more bars and restaurants, and they're still wanting more shopping district, but it's happening.
So
murals
inclusive.
are going in.
Goodness.
Yeah. The Grand LV is hosting, they're hosting an event on September 9th, this like Blanc party. It's like a white party, like how we saw like P. Diddy do in the 90s and like early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got like a white bounce house, and they've got all this, and like they're selling tickets.
Okay.
And so it's this private event, but they're selling tickets for it, and it's a fundraiser for a mural that's going in downtown.
Oh, that's incredible.
So get this, so it's by the famous muralist.
Yes.
Yeah, it's by this famous muralist that does the wings, the social media experience where you can stand in front of these huge, giant 100-foot wings or whatever they need. And they're destinations now for like influencers and all these different things. She's doing a winged mural or a design in Niles.
Oh, that's impressive. Right? That is so cool.
They're turning in and leaning into this like
they
artistic, like and historically preserving buildings, and it's just
we're here
so
and we're gonna stay
cool.
Here.
You have all these millennials and a lot of this cannabis industry that's booming on top of the residential industry that's booming in the first place nationwide. You've got Chicago moving into southwestern Michigan, like the Catskills of New York, like how New York City moves, how they're going to the Catskills. We're seeing this, not just tourism, which has always been here, but it's amplifying. We're seeing people, it's unreal what it's doing. Cannabis is just like, they're this just like living in this wonderful place of like amplifying, and we get to be a part of it. We get to help.
Yes.
It's really cool.
That is really cool.
Yep.
That's Look at where you've come.
I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It is.
It's really cool. And then like we're involved with the MICIA. We're involved with Michigo, which is a hospitality and tourism organization for Michigan cannabis tourism.
Right.
And like we anybody that wants to get involved with cannabis and they might not have the capital or the money to be able to go for licensure or anything like that, open hospitality and cannabis tourism, a bud and breakfast, something. And if you own an event space, like, and you are in an opted in town, reach out.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we can do really cool things together within that space, because Michigan has been open to doing things like events and doing that kind of stuff and expanding. So the ancillary businesses, because we feed each other.
Exactly.
And the industry needs help right now.
Yeah.
We really do. And it needs help from that oversaturation.
Yes. Yeah.
And with ancillary businesses, that's one very little thing, but others can benefit.
Exactly.
So regardless of one little thing that happens for the industry and where it might help a little bit, it would do unbelievable work then in retail to expand the tourism industry and hospitality.
There's so much. Yes.
I don't want to travel unless it's a cannabis recreational state or they take out of state med cards.
Yeah.
Which is only it's us in Nevada.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what is it? Yeah. It's 2 states. Okay.
From my recollection right now, it's only 2. I could be wrong. Fact check me.
Because we were taking Ohio's.
Yeah, we do, but we recognize other medical cards from other states.
Right.
And so does Nevada.
Okay.
No other, if you go to Ohio, you can't, even though they're medically cannabis, you can't purchase there with your Michigan medical card.
So if you're pulled over in Ohio with cannabis, then would you be, I wonder if you would be.
I don't know. I hope we have Ohio listeners that know.
Yeah.
We do have Ohio members.
Yeah, we do.
In the MICIA, so maybe they would know.
That's interesting.
But I don't want to go to a state. I don't want to leisure there.
No, because you can't take your medicine
because
with
if
you
I can't
safely.
take my medicine with me, if I can't take my recreational choice with me, I don't want it. That's my form of relaxation. It's my form of anxiety medication. It's my form. I use it for sleep. I consume it in different ways, and I consume different cannabinoids and terpenes at different times in order to medicate appropriately. I don't take pain medication. Like I because there's a difference between medicating and intoxicating.
Exactly.
And I medicate. And then I can take it to intoxication.
Exactly. Well, and the medication though is listening to your body. It's understanding what you need and what you don't need. And it's figuring it out. And that takes time.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of people, I feel, just they want that quick fix, and it's like, give it to me now, give it to me now. And we're essentially, that's what happened with me, where, I broke my wrist and I started smoking, and it was like, I needed that instant pain relief.
Yeah, in order to be able to do anything.
To function. And, for the last, since Bella's dead, 3 years, I've been constantly just blazing. And it wasn't until just recently where I stopped for a week. And, when I started partaking again, it's like, I understood what I was using it for.
Right. But recognize that if you would have gone, if you would have gone to a traditional doctor that most people go to.
I would have been medicated.
You would have been medicated on so many different things.
I would be on so many pain pills right now.
Pain pills, antidepressants, sleeping pills,
yes,
anxiety.
Yes.
You would, and if you take them incorrectly, God forbid, and whether
you do overdose,
yeah. No.
Yeah.
And
cannabis can replace all of those things, but it's figuring out the doses and what you need it for.
Absolutely.
And so now it's like that I have slowed down, and I'm using it when I need to. I'm understanding my relationship with it. I'm enjoying the high. And it's like, I want to enjoy this. I want to take my time with it and have a relationship with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
On so many different
levels. It's educating people, and it's having these
conversations and like ask.
Yes.
Talk to people.
Yes.
And like
reach out.
There are so many different people with so many different experiences. You know what I mean?
Right, and not everything's gonna fit the bill, but again, asking, understanding,
and ask a lot of people. Don't just take one person's word for granted. Ask a lot of people and keep asking questions. I'm a regular consumer, and I'm still asking questions because there are still questions to ask. There's still information coming out. There's still studies coming out. There's still so much to learn. And like, there's so much to do. And there's a lot of people with a lot of drive to keep doing it, to keep doing the work. And it's why, to just make a statement, that it's why the industry needs privately owned businesses.
Yeah.
It's why they need to encourage and protect and feed and help nurture and help protect them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we're the ones that are doing things.
Well,
big corporate is not doing this.
Right. But in turn, though, it's embracing the community. It's embracing the patients.
100%.
And education.
Yeah. They're not doing this.
Right.
They don't care like we do. And Michigan, I know, is that we're Midwesterners. And then on top of it, we're the echelon of the Midwest. Right. We're Michiganders. So there's a different type of nice here. It's not passive aggressive nice, like on the other side of the lake. But like, it's, it's not, it's true Michigan nice.
Yeah.
And like, and we can't lose that. And as long as it's at our core, and it's as long as it's a part of our makeup, and it's a part of our employee culture, our retail culture, the way that we speak about it, the way that we have conversations, the way that we educate, the way that we produce products.
Exactly.
Like the way that we do things, like matters.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's hard because Michigan is very humble, but it's hard to talk about them because we want to be humble and we want to be, we do things. And like, it was difficult. We put a billboard up, a Welcome to Niles billboard up on the north side of town because there wasn't one. And it was just like, man, there's one on every, and it's just like, all of our employees have access to a whole household. So like, even if it's their parents living in their house, their whole household receives a family membership to the YMCA here locally.
Oh my goodness.
As an employee benefit. Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah. So
you're doing that.
Child care, discounts. I mean, like, it's everything. Like camp, summer camp.
Yes.
Huge.
Nice.
It's a huge benefit.
Right.
And like, the Y was, they were struggling hard, like
every
business was, but the
COVID,
why was when my dad, who's been a Y he's a Wyer.
Uh-huh.
He's a Y guy. He likes his yoga and he likes his classes and he works out every day. My dad's a Y guy.
Right.
And he builds relationships at the counters and with everybody there and and he builds relationships. And when he came home from the gym and he was like, oh my God, this might not happen. We have to do something.
It's a win-win for everyone.
And we immediately went, and it was just like, how do we donate to you?
Right.
Because we can't.
Right.
You're a family organization.
Right. And you're cannabis.
And we're cannabis.
Oh, shucks.
How do we give you money?
Yes.
And we got very creative, which is again a pivot ability. We got very creative. And it was like, the amount of money that we want to donate is damn near or a little bit more, but totally fine of what, and that will help. It will keep them, and it's sustainable. It's monthly.
Wow.
If we do this.
Yes.
And now they have numbers, everything goes, and
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we put this welcome to Niles billboard.
Right.
If anybody ever sees, we only have a couple billboards, but if anybody ever sees our art, our ads or anything like that, Alec, our creative, oh my God. Just so good at what he does.
Yes.
He's multi-talented. He's he programs, he does visual effects and animation. He does everything, audio, radio, everything. And then his art on top of it. And it's so specific to us. And he does such a good job.
That is so cool.
So
I love hearing, you're so in love and have so much pride and joy.
Our team is incredible.
Yeah.
Our team is unbelievable.
Right.
Yep.
I love it. I love the flow and the vibe. And everyone is just so nice and accommodating. And
we try really hard. And staffing is tough. That's a thing across the board.
For everyone. Yeah.
Staffing is tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Staffing is tough.
Right.
And but the thing is the job is tough.
Exactly.
And we will bring somebody on and let's say for a bud running position. And so the bud tenders, they might take appointments. They might be running product in and out, but the bud runner, they're the ones that are they're the folks that are going in and out.
They're the servers. They're the waitresses.
Servers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And it runs a lot like that.
Right.
And it is not easy. It's not just weather conditions or the steps or the fatigue. It is also the compliance because you're a proxy. It's
the face-to-face customer.
It's customer service.
Exactly.
It's if there's waits and because staffing is tough.
Right.
And waits are we've come into and we've checked. We've come into longer wait situations as of late.
Right.
Just like you are at restaurants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like you are at the grocery store.
Right. Everyone's being affected right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're all feeling it. And it's transversal.
Yeah.
Or communicable on either side. And but our team has just
rocking.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Our team is just unreal. And their ability to be able to pivot and continue and keep working towards that. We all have
a common thread and common drive.
Yeah. Yes, and we have these
a common goal, success.
Yeah. And we have these shining stars that have been with us. And there's a high turnover rate in cannabis.
Right.
And we have people, and most of our people are from the start, from the very beginning. Val moved over from the east side.
Right.
And she came over with us and she hung drywall, she painted, she did
floors. It is totally a family
and she came over as our to contract as our harvest manager for the grow, because we were building the grow first.
Yeah.
And then we had to pivot and we changed it on her, and it was just when she was okay, but I can touch retail. I saw this in the caregiving community.
Everyone
when caregivers when caregivers could purchase from retail. So she knew it. She had been in more grows. She had seen more product than any one of
Wow.
us.
Wow.
She was, and we, so it was like, nope, we need her.
Yeah.
We need him. We need her. We need them.
Yeah.
We need this person. We did it all.
Right.
And
right.
like, and we fed our friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, it's tough. Working with friends is hard.
Right.
And like, but like Val, like when we opened the store, so she pivoted with us, and then we opened the store, and her and I were we were on the front, and my brother was in the office, and my husband and his friend Jesse, like they were taking care of the outside, and they were reception and crew, and crew was in the basement of packaging, Cheryl was doing legal, like it was everything.
Wow.
And then the pandemic happened, and Val and Adam came out of the office. He developed bud running, and like Val did that with him, and like she started managing, and I had to go. She ran the front end with him, and I had to go into a heavy administration to pivot with the pandemic, and like all the stuff that came with HR and new laws and legals, and like working with Cheryl. It was crazy. And then she went to the bake. So when crew needed to leave, she went downstairs, and then she took over. Like she developed, packaging was developed.
Talk about multiple hats. Everyone was
and
wearing.
then she like bloomed. She did it 3 or 4 times over again. Most efficient department. It was unreal. And like 3 and 4 times over. So she does packaging, and then the grow starts getting built. And so she's getting ready to go over there, and then she helps bring packaging over. She helps with like maternity leaves, training, like she was unbelievable. But like every single one of our managers, and now we've had our first harvest. So she's in the thick of, and now she's doing what we hired her to do. Right. You know, and like she's building that team now. Yes. So it's like, it's so cool. It's so cool.
Of the hard work. Yeah.
Every single one.
Yes,
every staffer.
Dang.
They all have like, I mean, Casey, like
that's not just like giving 100% of work. I mean, that's like 200.
And like, but each one of our managers live and breathe it.
Right.
Like my brother doesn't like it because he says it makes it sound like a cult, but they drank the Kool-Aid. Like, well, and now
they get it.
They get it. And that's what I say. And it's like, they get it. Right. My dad calls them captains on our ship. Like, or, you know, some, like we've got a couple other owners, Adam refers to them as lifers, you know, so we all have like our funny ways of looking at, but we know they're a part of the like they're in it. They get it. Yeah. And like some people might have a rough 3 months, you know what I mean? Right. But we even just like siblings, just like family, like we might not have great reactions. Right. You know, and like, because we care so hard, and we all have big personalities, and they have big personalities, and we have, and it's an us. It's not they, them, it's us.
Well, and it's understanding too that, you know, everyone is living their personal lives, no matter all of the external changes that are going on around us, you know, and stressors, and you're building this business. And so, you're allowing people to be human. Yeah. And to make mistakes and to be humble, you know, I mean, we all do it. You know, and that's incredible. That's an important thing to have as a part of your team.
Yeah. Our people are what they are what make we're great with them. Yeah. And they are great for us. We are, it's what makes it work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Katie, I wish you the much more continued success. And I'm so happy and proud for you. And
it's good.
Yeah. It's incredible. And I can't wait to see, what more you're going to
we hope to keep doing more. Yeah. We hope to keep doing more. We need a little protection in the industry. Right. And that needs to happen on a multitude of levels, from the cities and from their awareness of what happens, how many licenses they allow, what that does to like on all levels. And then at the state for how many licenses are happening, what does the capital look like, and what those percentages in economics do.
Yeah. Yep. It's all important. It's all part of it.
Yeah. But like being part of the MICIA, that's huge. It's huge. Yeah. We've got to be able to do it.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I appreciate you having me.
I enjoyed spending the weekend with you. I had so much fun.
Thank you. Oh.
Can't
Thank
wait
you so
to
much
come
for
back.
coming.
And I do have to say, waking up to the rooster every morning was my favorite.
Oh, good. Good. We do have some people that come in and they're like, so that's a thing that I didn't know. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about the birds. I always forget about the birds.
I loved it.
Good.
Yeah, it was comforting to me. So
Good.
I appreciate
it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, that is Light a Joint with Ida. I appreciate you tuning in and watching us today. And we went over a little bit, and that's okay. We had a lot to talk about.
We had a lot to talk about.
Yes.
I got high. I'm a little rampant. So
and that's what the show's all about. Yeah. Check out Katie at Greenstem. Are you online?
I'm Greenstem Kate.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of stuff on my personal as well, Katie Lynch Lindgren. But and then our store has a ton. Greenstem Provisioning, and then you've got Sticky Mitten. And then we'll have Simplicity Farms once flower starts to come out.
Exciting.
Yep. So it's big stuff coming out.
So stay on the lookout for other products and check them out and let us know what you think.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Take care. We'll see you later.